Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. You have stumbled upon or clicked upon or gotten here to the Raging Verbalist. This is Raging Verbalist number 134. Raging Verbalist is a topic that's in my mind and we talk about it. You can always, of course, hit the like button, comment below, say nice things, hit the notification and subscribe. That would be great. Also, you can find us on Facebook on Position to Win Book. We have a Facebook group for my book. So, all right. And of course, with me as always is the ever lovely Sandra. Sandra, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's a wild morning. And for those of you who don't know and are fans of Sandra, she is on the mend. She is having lots of, dental work done and I guess opening too many beer cans or cracking or beer bottles or cracking too many walnuts or something, but anyway, so she's on the mend. Have to give it up, that's it. All right, so we are talking today about this is because we don't veer much into politics, so we're not going to do that today, but we're talking about a very exciting subject. At least I think it's exciting, and this is current media stuff going on. But what are we talking about, Sandra? Lay it on me. What are we going over?
We are talking about Top Gun.
Top Gun, yeah. Top Gun Maverick is out there. And all right, so hit me with your best shot. What do you want to say?
All right, so did you see the original Top Gun in 1986?
So 1986, I was working at Mercury Computer Systems, and bunch of 20-somethings, high testosterone, high-tech salespeople. It was really my first full year there, if you will. And so go to the sales meeting, and every person had seen that movie. I mean, anybody who didn't see the movie, we ridiculed them, just to the end. And of course, it brought about this whole idea of, maybe we should have, different naming, nicknames and all that stuff. So that, I saw it in 86, loved it, thought it was great. All of those kinds of things, even bought the soundtrack because I like the soundtrack. This is at a time when to buy a movie would be like ridiculous. I mean, I'm not going to buy a VHS tape. Did rent it a couple times. So yes, I saw it, loved it, thought it was great. Thought Tom Hanks not Tom Hanks. What did I say? Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks wasn't in this one. Anyway, Tom Cruise, and it's hard. I don't know how I can confuse the two, but Tom Cruise did a great job. Val Kilmer, all of those, really a cool movie. And, and since I was selling to the defense community, it even meant more. And then, that was pretty cool. So my question though is, Sandra, did you see the original movie and were you supposed to see it?
Well, I missed the original release because I wasn't born yet. So
well,
stinks on that one. Circumstances.
Everybody's got an excuse in this world, don't they? Huh?
Exactly. Yeah, I've seen it like on TV and that sort of thing, but I'm gonna blame my brother because he would always show me things that I wasn't like. Mom would say, don't let her watch that. She's too young because I'm the baby. So I've seen all sorts of shows that I wasn't supposed to see when I was a kid. So we'll just blame him for that one.
and your brother ended up going into the military at some point in time, right?
One went into technology and the other one went into the military. So yeah, got best of both worlds there.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. All right. So we both have seen the original, but only one of us, and you'll have to guess who has seen the current one. So part of my task for all of you who are out there is to convince you that I think it's worth going to see. And I'm not going to drop a lot of spoilers because, well, somebody hasn't, oral surgery, kind of being laid up, excuse to not go. I mean, but anyway, we'll see if by the end of the session, if I've convinced Sandra to go and see Top Gun, the movie. So, all right. Or Top Gun Maverick, I guess is
there you go.
All right. So what's the second question?
All right. So were you surprised that Tom Cruise would make a sequel 36 years later and star in it?
Well, I was kind of surprised because when I heard that, I thought, isn't he a little long in the tooth. Now, understand he's had, more work than, lots of highway projects but he looks like he's in great shape, and all that. So I was surprised he starred in it the way he did. He did an exceptionally good job, and they put it together very well. And now I can't wait for the next one. So, in 36 years, what will that be? Like 19 or 2058, he'll have to make the third installment if it's every 36 years. So I've now started to, work on chanting for that one. But yes, I was surprised that it took him 36 years to make another one. But you talk about how far the special effects world has gone is pretty amazing.
So why has this movie become so popular, breaking box office records?
Well, it's not something that's based upon, a comic book character or graphic novel or whatever we want to call these people. It's not a Marvel or a DC or a, supernatural, whatever. So I think, I mean, and I hope I'm not ruining anybody's day, but there are no zombies in this movie. There are no werewolves. There are no vampires. Though I think it would have added to it. Really, I think it could have added to it. But I think the reason why it did is that people could go watch it. It was, it had a really good plot line, had a good story, and of course it had a lot of action and tension and all of those things. And it's PG-13, so anybody, at least in the U.S. So that means that there's only one F word. There's only one. And for those of you who don't know, a little sidestep is that the way the rating system works is that when they are going to give it a PG-13, that means 13 years old, 13 years of age and older. So they can, their sensitive young little ears can hear the word fuck just one time. So, and I always wait, drives my wife crazy, because when that happens, I kind of let out a visceral hoop and a holler because they gave a fuck. Okay, next.
Just one, though.
Just one. I can't have that many.
All right. Will it break the $1 billion sound barrier?
Well, amazingly enough, and for those of you who are wondering, hey guys, why didn't you do this when it opened? Is that we've been waiting for two things to happen, and both are seismic events. And one is, of course, for Sandra to go see the movie, but the second is, will it hit $1 billion? And as I checked on Box Office Mojo this morning, we are at $913 million and climbing, which means that this will become, it will hit. I think it will hit $1 billion in theatrical release, and Tom Cruise is going to end up being in the Guinness Book of World Records, if anybody is interested in tracking this. But he will actually be paid more money than any other single actor ever for a movie role, because he has a percentage deal. So he is going to make a big whopper amount of money off of this thing, which is really great. And I mean, I'm happy for him. I don't know him. It isn't like Tom says, hey, John, should I do the movie or not do the movie? But I can tell you that, I mean, it's going to hit $1 billion. And we will, at some future point in time, we will definitely tell all of you when it cracks that magic 1 billion. I mean, 913 million and still going strong. It's going to happen. Now, speaking of going strong, speaking of becoming successful, speaking about all of those things, one of the things that I would encourage each and every one of you to do is to go out and figure out how to put yourself in this admirable position as Mr. Tom Cruise has done. And one of the best ways to do it is, of course, going out and getting this, which is my book and my partner Gabe Batista's book, Most Businesses Fail in the First 5 Minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it, position to win. And the point of it is that and you can tell it's my book because it has, my Post-it notes for me. So you can go out and buy this book without Post-it notes at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. You can get the physical copy. You can also get the digital, Kindle, Nook, and Apple Books. And also you can go to positiontowinbook.com, and you can sit there and say, hey, John, I want to have an autographed copy and all of that. And, what I'll do is, of course, I will put it in there. And if you want me to say Top Gun, I'll give you Top Gun. Also, you can check out, so that's that book. Also, you can check out Remote Work. I always love the green screen problem. Anyway, you can check out the other book, which is Remote Work for a Better World, and learn how to do remote work in a better way. And, because even though we're post pandemic or whatever you want to call it, you still want to get better, stronger on all of those things. So check it out. You'll learn a lot. You'll get more out of it. And now back to questions about Top Gun Maverick.
All right. So are you surprised at the positive response internationally for this essentially being a military movie?
I think that what happens, and the enemy they're fighting is kind of nebulous, because of course they understand that you got to be careful in the international world and all of that. But I think it's because it's a good story. It's the good guys versus the bad guys. It's the how to overcome adversity, how to learn how to make this work, how to go through this rigorous process. And so I think it's a good journey. And I think the reason why it gets there is that the action kind of brings you in. But there's a lot of action movies. I mean, that's one of my complaints about some of the Marvel DC stuff, is that there's all action and no story. And this has, I think, a good blended balance of action versus action with a story. So I think that's why it's done so well, even though it is a military movie. And I think it pulls people in, it attracts them, and draws their attention. And frankly, I'm going to go see it again in the theaters because it's worth seeing on the big screen.
All right. What were some of the most interesting special effects in the movie?
Well, one of the most interesting ones is that Val Kilmer, the actor, has a throat disease, and he by the way, had an amazing voice, and he cannot do that anymore. So he actually is, and this is a spoiler, but he is CGI'd in this whole thing. And that's pretty interesting because, again, anytime that was done previously, it looked like a bad, like when I was growing up, you would watch these, movies like, the Godzilla movie from Japan, and then they would have terrible, lip syncing or looping, as it's called, in there. And it was awful. But that was done really, really well. Also showing the planes. Now I kind of give it up to, can a plane really do that? I don't have direct contact with people who fly fighter jets, though. Here's kind of an interesting story, is that when I was the evangelist for the startup out of MIT, we got a chance to go to the Top Gun school when it was still in Miramar, in San Diego. And of course, Top Gun isn't the only school there. They had all of the other schools, and it was fun talking to those people. Now, what they didn't do is they didn't go, light one up on the runway, but it was really cool to be there talking to people. So, watching some of those, and the stuff looks very, very good, very realistic. So those are the things that stood out for me from the special effects side.
Right. What business lessons can be learned from a success like this?
I think that the part that really comes out, especially since, Top Gun is all about the elite of the elite, is that you have to ask yourself if you can dig deep down inside of yourself and work as hard as you possibly can, and then give it just a little bit more. And I think the lessons that come out of a movie like this, out of an inspirational story, is that, nothing is going to be easy in this world. I know I'm going to use a lot of 4-letter words: work, work, work. Because if you do that, you're going to get great results. You're going to get the best results you possibly can. Doesn't mean you're going to win every time. Doesn't mean you're not going to have adversity. And it is that continuous effort to work and overcome adversity, which I think is one of the best lessons. And if you need something that's inspirational, this is definitely the movie for you. And in fact, this is a place to go. So as we wrap up, I have to ask this question. Sandra, have I convinced you to go see this movie? I mean, everyone is wondering, will she go and do this?
Yeah, I think so. I'm getting some FOMO here. Fear of missing out, if nobody knows what that acronym means.
There you go.
So, I mean, it's doing really well. I mean, for a sequel, it's like, to be so successful, why not,
Well, and I think you're going to like it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, I would encourage everybody to go out there and see it in a movie theater. Again, on the big screen, you get a lot more of an immersive feel to it. One of the downsides of streaming for all of us who stream, I stream a lot of stuff, is that it's really easy to hit the pause button. It's really easy to look at social media while you're doing it. Go give yourself a couple of hours, get into it, and just turn everything off and just enjoy it. And if you do that, what you'll do is and again, I don't get anything out of this, I'm just kind of curious to see if it's going to happen, is maybe if all of us just give an extra little shove, we'll get it over $1 billion. And with that, this is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. For myself and the ever lovely Sandra on the mend from Dental Oral Surgery, this has been Raging Verbalist number 134, Top Gun Maverick. Go out there and fly away.